Across America, BP supports more than 300,000 jobs to keep our energy flowing. Jobs like updating turbines at one of our Indiana wind farms and producing more oil and gas with fewer operational emissions in the Gulf of Mexico. It's and, not or. See what doing both means for energy nationwide at bp.com/investing in America.
Residents at Brightview Senior Living Communities enjoy enhanced possibilities, independence, and choice. Brightview Dulles Corner in Herndon and Brightview, Great Falls, offer vibrant senior independent living, assisted living, and memory care services through various daily programs and cultural events. Chef-prepared meals, safety and security, transportation, resort-style amenities, and high-quality care. Everything you need is here. Discover more at brightviewseniorliving.com. Equal housing opportunity.
Homes.com knows having the right agent can make or break your home search. That's why they provide home shoppers with an agent directory that gives you a detailed look at each agent's experience, like the number of closed sales in a specific neighborhood, average price range, and more. It lets you easily connect with all the agents in the area you're searching, so you can find the right agent with the right experience and ultimately the right home for you. Homes.com. We've done your homework.
Hi, everyone. It's Amanda Rieger Green. Welcome to Soul Sessions. First of all, I want to give a big shout out to everyone who was able to attend the event in Austin, Texas on May 7th. It was a pretty amazing evening. There was so much energy. Of course, there was a ton of energy, and it was overwhelming at times for me just to assimilate the energy, interpret it in a coherent way. I did all of those things, but it challenged the heck out of me and thrilled me to my core. And I want to extend a massive thank you to everyone who showed up, everyone who was open, everyone was open and supportive and curious, because curiosity is my thing, getting open and curious to see things differently, to know more about yourself. It's all this big exploratory journey. And I tell you what, the way that we orchestrated this event, of course, it was curated extremely intentionally, and my energy and intent was behind the vibration of it. But what I love is we did it on the Taurus new moon, which was May 7th. And then almost immediately after that, we started getting these solar flares. And everybody, hopefully, unless you live under a rock, you're pretty aware that we've had massive solar flares, which have triggered weather patterns, and then the aurora borealis in the sky that you've probably seen pictures of or witnessed yourself. In Austin or in the Hill Country area where I live, we had massive hail. I mean, like tennis ball size hail hit our roof. I've never seen hail that large, and it was actually pretty frightening and wild. But I was looking out into the backyard when it was coming down. My husband and I were, and I mean, it was hitting the house. We were really fortunate that windows didn't break. We did get some damage to our roof, and so did our neighbors, but there were trees down, and there were tornadoes that hit in the area. So it was just massive weather patternings happening, which is also, by the way, Uranus in Taurus. Uranus is in Taurus. Jupiter is finishing up its cycle in Taurus, about to move to Gemini on May 25th. We have so much astrology popping and crackling in the sky. But Taurus is about the natural world and the earth, and Uranus is lightning bolt energy. So it's not unusual in this cycle and season that we're in with the astrology to see these crazy weather patterns. But the solar flares happened after the event. And I know in my heart, in my spirit, and the way that I see things, that it was this opening, the event and the consciousness of the event and the curiosity, then to have these solar flares that I heard someone describe it this way. And I cannot remember his name, and I will look back and listen back to where I heard it because I want to give him credit for it. But when somebody says something that I'm listening to or I'm learning, whether I'm listening to a podcast or reading a book, and it's one of those things where it's like lightning strikes my body and I just know. It's like I either remember it, I know it to be true, I know it in my bones. When I heard this, it was one of those moments. He said, solar flares are like stem cells for the soul. And when I heard that, I was like, well, of course they are. Well, duh. Meaning, to me, I don't have to know the science behind solar flares and what it's doing to the atmosphere, but it's changing the electromagnetic frequency of the planet, of our consciousness. It is affecting our bodies, our biology, and obviously weather patterns. But what I want you to think about is, if you think esoterically or in expanded consciousness, if solar flares are like stem cells for the soul, what they are doing is they're upgrading us. So where are we experiencing the upgrade? In our physical bodies? And most people, including myself, are either experiencing both of these things, and I'm experiencing both, is extreme fatigue, just where I am foggy, I'm exhausted, I can't feel, see, think clearly, or I sleep longer. I mean, I literally wake up sometimes so groggy. And then my husband is experiencing the adverse effect of that. He is waking up 4 or 5 times a night and I just can't get back to sleep and has to get up in the night. So I've heard a lot of people feeling like their sleep patterns are disrupted. So sleeping more, not sleeping well, feeling the physical effects. I've also felt physical effects in my body. So in the joints or in certain areas in my body that might, be a little bit challenged or compromised, that I know are some of my Achilles heels. And to me, they're connected to karmic healing and my chakras. And, I can analyze it all sorts of ways, but I feel those things are triggered for me. So I encourage you to pontificate a little bit, contemplate, look at the last couple of weeks and this energetic shift that we are going through, and where you have seen your energy levels either swing really high to low, where you felt lethargic, where you felt motivated, up and creative, and then you crash, or where you're feeling things in your physical body. And of course, if you have something going on, some kind of disease or health challenge, I'm not taking away from the medical diagnosis or what's going on, but we're sensitive beings and we are experiencing this upgrade. And I would liken it to this. Think about if we brought a caveman or a cave woman into 2024 and all the technology, all of the electromagnetic frequencies, all of the stimulation on this planet by our evolution, they might spaz out. Their body has not evolved to genetically or physiologically or biologically respond to the immensity and the intensity of the consciousness we're in, the energy field that we're in, the electromagnetic frequencies. So let me say this. This is another one of those things where I can wrap my head around this and say, yes, I know this to be true. Yes, this is what this feels like. Astrologers talk about this, biologists, scientists have discussed evolutionary patterns, and so have mystics and spiritual people. But if we look back when we have had significant consciousness upgrades, and I'm talking about moving from AD to BC, different points, the Mayan calendar, that was, 2012. We had some significant shifts. Since 2012, there have been some consciousness upgrades, and the energy is accelerating at compounding rates. I always give the example of time and the pandemic and how time feels like it's slowing down and speeding up, and it can be almost confusing from a linear perspective to digest things. But think about this. When we've had upgrades in consciousness or evolution, it usually happens over a century, over 100 years. It's a slower burn, a slower assimilation. And the way that I have interpreted and what I have heard resonating out in the community, the spiritual and the metaphysical and all of the astrological community, is that we are going through an accelerated consciousness from about 2012 to about 2032. So we're at kind of a midway point. Is it going to get easier? I think yes. Are we at a new baseline and a new norm? Yes. Is it confusing? Yes. Are our physical bodies and our realities shifting? Yes. There's a lot happening. So I know from everybody that I talk to, I mean, really everybody, and it doesn't matter what their belief systems are or what environment I'm in, from friends, family, clients, podcast listeners, somebody in the grocery store, whoever it may be, lay people out in the world, everyone is experiencing a tremendous amount of change and turmoil. And it can be very deep and spiritual, or it could be physical and physiological. It can be emotional. Big changes, breakdowns and breakthroughs are happening simultaneously. So grounding, being present, getting clear, all of the things that I talked about in last week's podcast with the root chakra, boundaries, that stuff. And if you haven't listened to that podcast, and it's funny because I listened back to it. I was driving the other day and I was listening to my podcast because I do that because I want to make sure, first of all, I want to be leveling up and communicating information. That's just the nature of who I am. I want to do better, be more conscious, and also recognize where I am and what I'm sharing. And I listen back and I'm like, oh, I need to do that. I shared this with everybody else. I better do my homework too. So I've been grounding, but I talked about the root chakra and the iron core crystal of the earth. And we talked about this at the event and how important it is to really drop a grounding cord. And you can listen back to that podcast. But one of the things I'll say in dropping a grounding cord that's helped me recently, and just in the last week, this is something that came into my consciousness and I started practicing this, is I will imagine a ball of light in my body, and I originate it in my solar plexus, so my gut, just below my heart space. So I don't start at my heart chakra, my heart space. I start in my mighty I am, my gut, the seat of my intuition in my humanness. That's where I originate that ball, that big ball of light. And then with my mind's eye, my imagination, that important extrasensory ability that is the new frontier, not just touch, taste, sound, smell, and sight, but the imagination, being able to picture or imagine something in my mind's eye. I take this big ball of beautiful white light, and then I begin to drop it down my spine, down my legs. And when I'm doing that, I imagine the ball of light, and I imagine that it's grabbing every aspect of my consciousness in my body from that place onward, so all the way down through my feet, and then I drop it down as many layers of the earth as I can, the second dimension. So I'll go from the third dimension in my body, that solar plexus, I drop it down into the second dimension, which is the telluric realm, every single mineral layer of earth, and then I shoot it all the way down and I fuse it with the iron core crystal of the earth. Y'all be safe, but I can do this because I can do it pretty fast now in my imagination and in my feeling and in my belief. But when I first started practicing this like a week ago, I started doing it in bed, and then I did it in the morning in my meditation, and then I made time for it in my day, and now it's getting quicker and faster. So drop it down, drop the ball of consciousness, grab all that consciousness, go down every layer of the earth, fuse it with the iron core crystal. It's like I drop the consciousness into the center of that iron core crystal, and then I pull it back up and I go through every layer I can imagine, and then it starts to come back up through my body, my feet, my legs, my pelvis, my spine, and then once it hits the solar plexus, then I bring it up into my heart, from my fingertips up my arms into my heart, my throat, my head, my brain, and then pop, I pop it out of my head. Like I literally in my mind go pop and I pop it out of my head. And Then I shoot it through the sky. I break the Earth's atmosphere like a rocket. You know, what you imagine with NASA and what we've seen in, all the TV shows we watch. We break the Earth's atmosphere, and then I start to float out in space, and I just float out until I hit the galactic center, this amazing, instead of a black hole, I think of it as a white hole, and I think of it as white light. And I go into that white light with all of my consciousness that I grabbed. And I go into that white light, and I just kind of see this etheric white light. And then I marinate in that. And there are studies that show that exercise in and of itself can bring you into a delta state, which delta state is our programmable state. That is literally the programmed state of brain frequency. It is slow and programmable. So guess what you get to do? You get to reprogram right there. So you ground all the way down, and you do it with the love and the light and your imagination, your intuition. You trust, you believe, you pull it back up, you bring it through your body, you pop it out the crown of your head, you shoot it out into the atmosphere, you find your white hole, and I shoot it into that space. And if you want to think of that as God, as the divine, if you want to think of it as these loving arms, however you imagine it, and maybe you're floating out in the galaxy, who knows? You put your spin on this, okay? Use your own imagination, energy. And when I get into that state, that's when I know I can really do some reprogramming. And I don't have to just hold my imagination in that white space. I do that as best I can, but then I start to say things like, I am love. Today I declare a fantastic afternoon. Today I declare ease. Today I declare clarity. Today I declare being in the right place at the right time. Today I declare abundance. Today I declare radical healing in my physical body. Today I declare, you fill in your blank, but declare, because in the world of manifestation, you want to speak in the present moment. And I love declaring. That makes me think of Joel Osteen, by the way. When I say that, I think of Joel, and I think of, I declare happiness over you and blessings in your life, and God is growing in your life. And I tell y'all what, this is making me laugh and smile big time.
Hey, Steve Covino here from the Covino and Rich Show to tell you the national sales event is on at your Toyota dealer, making now the perfect time to get a great deal on dependable new trucks, like the rugged half-ton Tundra, combining raw capability with premium comfort and advanced tech to fuel your wildest adventures. Or check out the fully redesigned Tacoma, delivering trail-dominating power and captivating style. The new Tacoma was born to make your off-roading dreams come true. Check out more national sales event deals when you visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Are you tired of your scented cleaning products smelling and cleaning like meh? Then it's time for an upgrade with the power of Clorox Scentiva. With an uplifting scent that smells like coconut, Clorox Scentiva gives you powerful clean like Clorox, but a feeling like being transported to a tropical island retreat. Imagine putting your phone on Do Not Disturb, tuning out all the constant, just the feeling of warm sand in between your toes and a fruity drink in your hand. The ones with the little umbrella. Refresh your home to feel like an all-inclusive vacation by getting Clorox Scentiva. Also available in grapefruit and lavender scents at a nearby retail store.
Like many of us, you might think identity theft will never happen to you. But consider this. There's a new identity theft victim every 3 seconds in the U.S. That's over 15 million people by the end of this year, equal to the populations of New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago combined. Even worse, identity theft victims often don't even know they're victims. That's why LifeLock Identity Theft Protection alerts you to identity threats, even the ones that don't show up on a credit report, like data breaches, fraudulent bank transactions, loan and credit card applications, and crimes committed in your name. If your identity is stolen, your own dedicated LifeLock US-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. LifeLock protects you in ways that you simply can't on your own. Join now and save up to 25% your first year at LifeLock.com/iHeart. That's LifeLock.com/iHeart to save up to 25%. Identity theft protection starts here.
And I tell y'all what, this is making me laugh and smile big time. Years ago, when I was still in healthcare and I was in my company car, I used to have to drive a ton. Well, I had Sirius XM radio in my company car. Kind of amazing, right? I had Sirius XM radio, and Joel Osteen has a channel. And I used to listen to Joel, and I still do. I'll listen to Joel anytime, and it doesn't matter what you think of Joel or your beliefs or how that jives. But I tell you what, that man is talented. He's wicked talented, and I have a mad respect for his craft because, first of all, he also goes back and listens to all of his stuff, and he wants to get better. And I appreciate that about him, and I've heard him say that many times. But he's very good with his rhetoric. He's wonderful with the intonation of his voice. He's totally, I don't know Joel's birthday, but I can guarantee you he has heavy 3 in his energy because it's the orator. It is the communicator, the broadcaster. And I mean, it's just hardwired in him. I bet he has 3 and 4 energy because he's very methodical and focused. So I bet you anything. I'm going to have to look up Joel's birthday. I'll do his numerology and I'll get back to you. But that being said, he would make me laugh first and foremost. And what I loved about that, he would always start with a joke. And so it kind of would like get me in a good mood. And then there would be lessons, and he would talk about scripture and different lessons and the meaning behind it. But what I loved about his energy is he would say things in the affirmative. If you listen to Joel, everything is, I declare, I am sending blessings into your life. God is here to grow you, not bring you down. God is the God of miracles. And listen, again, whatever your beliefs are, when I would listen to Joel, my vibration would shift for the day. And I would get into this, yes, I'm declaring miracles over my day. Today, things are going to be easier. And it would bump me up. So whatever I had on my plate that day, no matter how challenging or bureaucratic or hard or complex or people not doing what they needed to be doing, I gave myself that shot of medicine, that shot of, I declare motivational, inspirational thinking and energy. I was conditioning my day. So I'm asking you, how do you condition your day? And if there's any time that I would say start, I've said this month, start something, I would say start from today forward. The rest of this month, the energy is ripe for it. The 4 numerology is ripe for it. But I would say, see how you can condition your morning. When you get up, can you just start with something like, today I'm available for, and do it in that groggy state because you're still kind of in that delta right there. So if you don't feel like you can do meditation or have the time for that, or you forget to do it, and I always tell people, hey, put a Post-it note or an index card next to your bed and write, today I'm available for, and a blank. And right when you look over, before you pick up your phone, before you start getting into the hustle and bustle of whatever your morning looks like, say, today I'm available for, and then see what your soul says. Because it's pretty amazing in those groggy wake sleep states, which is kind of like the energy of the 11 to me. It's when we walk between the worlds. The veil is very thin. That is like a delta state. You're right there in that peak energy that's just, it's elusive. It's like right in between the yin and the yang. When does the yin and the yang symbol go from black to white, white to black? That's the 11 energy, the master number 11. That's the 1111 on the clock. That's the state. That's the space. Or when you see 1111 on the clock, or the repeating numbers that you're seeing. I love when people reach out. So many people are like, I keep seeing the number 813 or 727, and it's so-and-so's birthday. And how does this relate? And does this make sense, Amanda? And I'm like, if it makes sense to you and grabs your attention, heck yes. Y'all, don't even ask. You can ask me. I love it when you do because it fires me up. And I'm like, don't even second guess. Just go for it. And what do you intuit from it? But anytime you have those moments, that's when you you hit a brain frequency that you get to tap into and you can declare. I declare peace over my life. I declare peace for, and I tell you something else I did, and I wouldn't necessarily call this a grounding technique, but I think it connects with the 8 numerology and the energy of the 8, is taking that infinity symbol and imagining the infinity and imagining that loop connects to you and it connects to, and you can connect someone that maybe you're struggling with in a relationship and you don't know how it's going to turn out. It's frustrating you. It's making you overwhelmed or stressed out, or it's your job and you don't know how things are going to change in your job and you're tired and you're frustrated, or you are feeling unseen, unrecognized, undercompensated, or you've got a health challenge. Take the infinity symbol and literally lasso that person, that experience, or the health issue. I know that's a little bit, you have to use your imagination with that. So for me, I have stuff that goes on. I mean, I'm pretty open about this, but I've had stuff that has been triggered in my bladder, and I've had weird bladder stuff the last 2 years that has been hard and just really difficult to manage and painful and uncomfortable. But imagining that I'm just taking that dis-ease or the stuff that's going on in my physical body and I'm lassoing it with the energy of the 8, and then imagining that the 8 is like water. It's like a loop of water, and water is a conductor. It's a cleanser. It's a healer. I've talked about this before when I talk about Epsom salt clearing and using water as a conductor. But lasso that person, that job, that health challenge, that fear. If you can name a fear that you have, I'm not safe. I do not feel safe in this relationship. Or I'm having panic attacks and anxiety, and I am afraid to be in the world, or whatever's coming up. If it's a fear that's coming up, name the fear and lasso the fear with the infinity symbol. Use the 8. Imagine it's this cleansing liquid light water, and lasso it and said there's an infinite healing. There's a loop of alchemy, an alchemical process going on. I mean, this is the way that I heal. This is the way that I learn things. This is the way that I get information from my higher consciousness and the collective. They show me through different people, through myself, through when I channel different techniques. So take what works for you. Either use that infinity symbol, use the grounding exercise I just gave you with your consciousness and the ball of light down to the center of the earth, up back through the universe, but see if you can get your body into a little bit of delta and then program it. Program it for, declare it for light, love, happiness, higher vibrational energy, easily and organically assimilating into your body. That's what I'll say, things like that. Whatever upgrades I'm going through, whatever healing journey I'm in, may this all assimilate healthfully, sustainably, and organically. May I evolve organically for the highest light, for the greatest good of this planet. I started adding that in because an astrologer who I adore, her name is Pam Gregory. It was something she was saying where she mentioned the solar flares being stem cells. She referred to someone else. I'm remembering where I heard this, but I've always said, may this be for the highest, greatest light. The highest, greatest light of all, of the greatest good, of my highest good. And I've always incorporated that. But she said she's added in a third layer to that. And she said, for my greatest good, for the greatest good of all, and for the greatest good of Mother Earth, of Gaia, of the planet. And I love that she incorporates the planet right now, because I want you to think about something. You know how we have all of the planets in astrology, like Mercury is about the mind, information gathering and sharing. Saturn is about organization, rules, infrastructure. Neptune is about mysticism and creativity and transcendence. I mean, we can talk about all the planets. Well, guess what? We live on a planet. It's called planet Earth, and it has an energy system and field too. It has characteristics and a consciousness too. And we don't think about that from the vantage points of the other planets. You know, the sun is about vitality and giving life. The moon is about the unconscious and the emotions. Jupiter is about expansion and luck and opportunity. Uranus is about lightning strike energy. But we don't think about Earth. Earth is the living library. It is a repository of intelligence. It is also about consciousness. It's about manifestation and co-creation. There are so many layers to what planet Earth is, and we happen to live on this Earth, remembering to work with the planet, remembering to work with nature. That's why getting ourselves re-entrained with nature, because we're on screens all the time, and we can reharmonize with the natural rhythms, the natural biorhythms of our bodies and our fields when we spend a little time out in nature or look out the window. Or if you can't get outside, when you meditate, imagining you're standing on a beautiful beach and the waves are crashing over your feet. So there are so many ways that we can ground, we can connect, we can assimilate these consciousness upgrades and receive these solar flares that we have, are so magnificent and wild and crazy, that are like these stem cells for the soul. That stuff, it's happening. I mean, this stuff rocks my world. I get excited about it, but it also gives me hope. And I believe it. I know it. I see it. I see my consciousness click when I work with my grounding and new techniques. I see synchronicities happen faster, quicker. I see results as far as an awareness that I might not have had before, a perception that has shifted or changed. And I was talking to a client this morning, and we were talking about how a lot of times other people don't change, we change. And I remember Wayne Dyer used to say that. It's not that the people around me changed, it's that I changed, that my perception changed, my heart healed, my sensitivity didn't bother me anymore with this person or this scenario. And that's kind of like what's going on right now, is where is the change? The change is within you, and working with the earth and grounding.
Hey, it's Lunchbox from the Bobby Bone Show, and I'm here to tell you the national sales event is on at your local Toyota dealer, making now the perfect time to get a great deal on a dependable new car, like a legendary Camry built for performance and available with all-wheel drive. You can count on your new Camry to get you anywhere you need to go. Or check out an affordable and reliable Corolla with a trim for every lifestyle. From the hip sedan to the sporty hatchback, there's a Corolla built just for you. Check out more national sales event deals when you visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Are you tired of your scented cleaning products smelling and cleaning like meh? Then it's time for an upgrade with the power of Clorox Scentiva. With an uplifting scent that smells like coconut, Clorox Scentiva gives you powerful clean like Clorox, but a feeling like being transported to a tropical island retreat. Imagine putting your phone on Do Not Disturb, tuning out all the constant, just the feeling of warm sand in between your toes and a fruity drink in your hand. The ones with the little umbrella. Refresh your home to feel like an all-inclusive vacation by getting Clorox Scentiva. Also available in grapefruit and lavender scents at a nearby retail store.
Ready? Let's go. Give me a vacation.
Vacation!
Give me a golf course.
70 courses!
Let's get a water sport.
Paddleboarding!
Can I get excursions?
Whale watching!
Time for chill vibes.
Beach yoga!
How about a garden tour?
Balboa Park!
Give me a dolphin. What's that spell?
San Diego!
If you're happy and you know it, San Diego is the place to show it. Book your trip at sandiego.org. Funded in part with the City of San Diego Tourism Marketing District Assessment Funds.
All right, y'all. So I have Joel's birthday. He's March 5th, 1963, which means he's an 8 attitude and a 9 life path. He does not have a 3 or a 4 in his immediate numerology. There's other numbers, and there's so much more to numerology than the attitude and the life path. And he's born on a 5-day. Our birthday is actually a significant player in our numerology. It's kind of like where we get our bump, our luck, where we can capitalize on or create opportunities for ourselves. So he's an 8 attitude and a 9 life path. But the 9, just like me, because I'm a 9 and I'm born on an 8-day, there's this gift of teaching and there's this gift of communication. But I'm still surprised that he's not like a 3 attitude or life path, because to me, he really exhibits this element of charismatic communication. I mean, obviously, he's a charismatic preacher, so that is literally his archetype. But it's pretty funny. So he's an 8 attitude and a 9 life path. And the 8 is ambitious. The 8 is about empowerment. The 8 loves to learn and grow and is fearless. It can be full of fear, but it's going to jump in. And that 5 energy of his birthday, your birthday number, think about your birthday number. So the actual day you were born, the numerology of that. So if you were born on the 27th, 2 plus 7 equals 9. If you're born on the 3rd, your number is 3. So if you're born on the 11th, you're an 11 day. That's a special number. It's a 2, and you get the 2 from it. 1 plus 1 equals 2. So that's the base frequency, but you also are a master number there. But the birthday number in numerology is where you can harness your energy, harness your skill set, accelerate your path by tapping into it. So for me, my birthday is October 8th. So I'm born on an 8-day, and I'm a 9 attitude and a 9 life path. So 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. I've got all that energy. And we're in an 8 year. So I know that that's a superpower that I get to use when I really focus in the 8 energy, which is faith over fear, risk and reward. It is finding my empowerment versus succumbing to my disempowerment. All of those lessons, if you're an 8 out there, but I know that when I push through my fear and I expand my faith, then God's got me, or I'm right place, right time energy, or I'm leveling up. So I encourage you to figure out your birthday. You can figure out your birthday number in a hot minute because but whatever your birthday number is, I'll run through the numbers really quickly because why not? If you're born on a 1-day, it's about individuality. When am I standing in my truth? Where is my mighty I am? How am I standing on my own 2 feet? And it's not about shutting other people out, but when am I being true to myself? Who am I and how am I demonstrating that? How am I taking charge of my life? So if that's your birthday, that's what that is. If you're a 2, how do I collaborate? Who are the people in my life that I feel a reciprocity with? What am I learning through the other person? If I'm learning through someone else, whether I love what they're saying or I don't love what they're saying, that's when I can accelerate my energy field. When I'm learning cooperatively, collaboratively, and also when I feel imbalanced. When I feel balanced, not imbalanced. When you feel imbalanced, it's like, whoop, I better get into balance pretty quickly. Or something's uneven here. Let me level the playing field. If you're a 3, if you're born on a 3-day, the 3 is all about communication, creativity. It's about joy and socialization. So it's remembering to get out of your own way and go connect. Go be with people. Go communicate. Go express yourself. So if you are born on a 3-day, and let's say you're like a 7 attitude number and a 6 life path, something like that, of course you're going to connect and communicate, but there's this introversion most likely to you where you really like feel and think about things deeply. So you're like, I got this. I'm just going to stay by myself. Or no, I can't take it. It's too much out there. That's when you're like, nope, I better go connect. I better go collaborate. Who are my people? When do I feel like I can freely express myself? If you're born on a 4-day, organization is your friend, getting everything in order. So it's like, when you clean out the messy drawer in the kitchen, you're winning. And I know that sounds so simplified, but heck no. We've been in a 4-month in May, and y'all, I've told you this before. I love the 4 energy. I love when we're in 4 because I feel like I get life in order. It means like my laundry gets done and I'm cleaning things up pretty quickly, whether it is my vanity in my bathroom because it helps me clear the clutter out of my head. So if you are born on a 4-day, the practical leads to the magical, meaning when you do something practically, it can feel like you're getting your internal house in order. So if you feel unhinged, if you feel frustrated, or you feel like you can't control everything and it's unmanageable or overwhelming, that's when it's like the mental and the emotional clutter internally is capsizing you. So go do something practical. Check something off your list. Make a list and scratch it off and feel the satisfaction of a job well done. That'll give you a boost. If you're a 5, if you're born on a 5-day, well, hello, freedom seeker. Like, you've got to have change. You've got to have something to look forward to. You've got to take leaps of faith. So remembering that if you're born on a 5-day, when you make plans, when you say, okay, I'm going to take this Friday off of work and I'm going to have a 3-day weekend and I'm going to go do some fun things for myself, having that to look forward to will accelerate your week. Or seeking adventure. The 5 is a very adventurous number. It's also an adrenaline junkie. So it means I've got to have something to look forward to that totally exhilarates my senses, that lights me up, that gets me a little bit scared and a little bit exhausted. Like, the way that I think of the 5 is like jumping out of a plane. They're kind of adrenaline junkies and they like to kind of be risky. So where do you take risk? But where are you doing something that just scares you enough but excites you more? Plan things like that, whether it's going to dinner with friends, buying tickets for a concert, planning a vacation, or changing your route to go pick up your kids from school. You can play with this in little ways. When you bust up your patterns with the 5, boom, then you're going to have insight, clarity, right place, right time energy, because the 5 can be lucky when it doesn't succumb to chaos. The 6, if you're born on a 6-day, the 6 is the healer, the wise woman, the nurturer, the mother of the energies. But guess where the 6 falls short? In its own self-care a lot of times. Does my cup feel full? Have I taken care of myself? How is my health? How are my boundaries? You know, what is my temperature today? Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically? You know, oxygen mask on you. Then you get to love on, support, heal, add wisdom, add counsel. So if you're born on a 6-day, you have a natural counselor in you. But the inclination is to give and to counsel and to do, and then not feel like you're receiving. So making sure you are giving, nurturing, supporting, loving on yourself, and then you get to share your wisdom. Then you get to share your guidance and your healing. And when you do that, boom, that's when things click. You feel like you're in the right place at the right time. If you're born on a 7-day, dude, you're a seeker, you're a searcher. You want to dive deep into things and put the mysteries of life together. The 7s are kind of genius in a way. You know, if you've got 7 energy, and you know this, all my 7s out there, you all, like, you can be extroverted and out in the world possibly, but also you love your own company. And you can love your own company so much that you isolate from the world, or you're afraid to share your insights, your genius, your knowledge with other people until you find the people that click. So with the 7 energy, when you have those aha moments or synchronicities, your opportunity is not only to, like all of us, be in our aha moment and set an intention or see the awe and mystery in it. Your opportunity is to take that insight or that transcendence that you experienced and tell somebody. Oh my gosh, you're never going to believe what happened to me today. I was thinking about this and this happened, y'all, literally today. I don't really eat Cheetos. I eat pretty healthy, but like if a Cheeto were to show up in my life, I would eat it. And I don't know why, but I was thinking about Cheetos today and I wasn't hungry for them, but I was thinking, gosh, there's all these chemicals in Cheetos and the dye number, whatever, and this probably isn't good for my body. And I have these alternatives, but if there was a Cheeto that showed up in my life, I would eat it. And literally I go to turn at the light, the back way I go to my Pilates class, there was a truck. It was a Cheetos truck. Like nothing else, no Doritos, nothing. It just, I mean, I've never seen a Cheetos truck. So first of all, and I was doing this, I was doing my little ball of consciousness grounding into the earth. And literally I'm thinking about Cheetos and there's the Cheetos truck. I mean, so I had to laugh because I'm like, I don't know what the significance of this is. And I'm speaking to the 7 here because this is how the 7's brain works sometimes. Like if you've got 7 energy, it's kind of wackadoo in terms of connecting cosmic dots. And it may not have meaning, but the Cheeto situation for me today, it made me laugh. I was like, I can't believe I'm thinking about Cheetos. And then I just see a freaking huge Cheeto truck. And I told somebody that when I got to Pilates, and they were like, that's so crazy, but that's so funny. And I was laughing about it, but I shared it. The reason I'm sharing this with you 7s, and I'm harping on you 7s for a hot minute, is because y'all get these weird insights that you're like, nobody's going to get this. They're going to think I'm so bizarre. No, share it, because whoever you share it with, whether they get you or not, it's about you getting out of that comfort zone and sharing all of that kind of cosmic wisdom and insight that you get. If you're born on an 8 day, like me, October 8th, if 8 is your number, well, it's about risk and reward. I shared that a little bit later. It is about really finding your empowerment and noticing when you feel disempowered. It's also about expanding your faith, certainly, but it's also recognizing a boldness in yourself. When do I feel bold? And am I going to be bold and true to myself, or am I just going to play small? Am I going to step out of my comfort zone because I believe in something, or I feel really drawn to this, even though it may not fit in my schedule today? For me, the way the 8 shows up and the way that I see this in many people who have heavy 8s in their numerology, it's also about money and finances. So you can have this, you can feel super abundant, and then the next day you feel totally destitute and without resource. The energy of the 8 is also about resolve, meaning I'm going to do this, I'm going to accomplish this, and I'm going to learn and grow from it. So if you're born on an 8 day, your opportunity is truly in your ability to recognize that you are here to grow. And when you do things that grow you, even when they're hard, we can do hard things. Isn't that Glennon Doyle's podcast name? We can do hard things, something like that. Like that's your motto. I can do hard things, but hard things that light up my soul, that feel like they're me, even if other people don't agree with me. Or, maybe I get some criticism. I can do hard things because I'm here to grow, because the 8's here to grow. And that's what this year is about. It's about growth and empowerment. So we become more light, more capable, more aligned, more fulfilled, happier, more joyful. And if you're born on a 9 day, I tell you what, the 9 is a lot. The 9 is a lot, but it means that you came here to assimilate wisdom and knowledge. There's this element of innate leadership in the 9, and a big thing for you to ask if you're born on a 9 day is, when do I feel at home in my own skin, and when do I feel in integrity? What is my highest character? What is the highest path forward? I think I've mentioned this before in the podcast, but there's a parenting book, and I haven't read the book, just the title is enough for me. The book is called Right, Wrong, Wise. I'm pretty sure I know about this through my cousin Christy, which is Amy Brown. My cousin Amy Brown, it's her sister. I think Christy had the book, Right, Wrong, Wise. And I was like, I don't need to read the parenting book. The title is enough. Is this right? And the reason I know about this, because I remember a couple of years Christy was going through something and they had to make a decision. She and her husband were making a decision about something. And it was like, is this the right decision? Is this the wrong decision? No, it's a hard decision, but it's the wise decision. And that's the energy of the 9. So that's your temperature gaze. Is this job? Is this relationship? Is the voice in my head, is it the right voice? Is it the wrong voice? Or is this the voice of my character, my integrity, my truth, the essence of my being? Is it my God-given voice, that innate voice, being true to the innate voice within? That's the energy of the 9, and it's connecting to your wisdom and your integrity. So is that an easy one to navigate? No, but It's a story of my life, y'all, because I'm 9, and born in a 9 year. And I won't leave the master numbers out because I get some shade for this sometimes. And y'all be like, well, you didn't talk about the 11 or the 22. So you can't be born on a 33 day because there's not 33 days in any calendar month. But I will talk about the 11 and the 22. So if you're born on an 11 day, everything about the 2, collaboration, cooperation, balance, harmony, that stuff applies to you. What am I learning through the other? But if you're born on an 11 day, boom, yeah, you've got intuition. We all have intuition. But yes, you're more sensitive. You're more intuitive. But if you're born on an 11 day, your magic happens, and the 11 is a magical number when it is harnessed. And you can't live in the 11, you access it. But the 11 is about the interconnection of the human and the spirit, which means when do I feel grounded on this human plane and totally connected to the cosmos, completely infinite and one at the same time. It is about the interconnection. It's a spiritual number. It is about walking between the worlds. So if you're born on an 11 day, meditation, grounding, getting still so you are familiar with your intuition is very, very important. So you can see those signs and synchronicities and trust and know more resiliently and more clearly. If you're born on a 22 day, the master builder, I love this number, of course, because guess what? 2 + 2 is 4. So I love the master builder. The master builder is building something tangible in this lifetime that is built to last. It is bringing dreams to reality. The 22 is about slow and steady wins the race. What is the legacy I am leaving? What is my destiny and how am I building it one day at a time? It's not about the sprint. It's about what are the practical things I can do today, whether it's my attitude or the actions I take. What am I doing that is contributing to something greater, contributing to something larger? And anyone who has a 22 in their energy field is here to birth big dreams in their lifetime. And it does not happen typically overnight. It is about the legacy of your soul, the legacy of who you are. The 22 is probably one of the most powerful numerology codes there is. To me, it is the most reachable because it's about practicality, and it's the most magical because it's about evolution. It's about growth. It's about building something to last. Building something that's sustainable, that's the 4, 2 + 2 = 4, and building something like leaving this place better than you entered it. That's your essence right there. Okay, well, I did not intend to go off on numerology today and go through all the numbers, but it came through, so I hope that helped you all, and I hope that's something fun and cool that you can incorporate this month so it gives you something to think about and focus on as we move through the remainder of this month. And I do want to say that we've got some wacko, crazy, amazing astrology happening. We have all these Kazimis. This is like this new word, I feel like, in astrology. It's not new, but Kazimi is when basically 2 planets are conjunct or fused together. We just had the Sun and Uranus conjunct. Venus and Uranus will conjunct on the 18th. Mars and the North Node of the Moon will conjunct on the 19th. Mercury will conjunct Uranus on the 31st, and I'm backing up here. Venus will conjunct Jupiter on the 23rd. So I know you may not be tracking with me on all that. The reason I'm kind of blurting all of that out is we have all these conjunctions, which means we have planets and their energy fusing together, and we've got Uranus and we've got Jupiter. And there's a lot of activity there. And remember, we just had a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction last month, which is a big 14-year cycle that is about innovation, quantum leaps. So we're getting this second dose of kind of re-up energy over the remainder of this month. Also, Jupiter moves into Gemini on the 25th. It'll be in Gemini until June of 2025, I believe. So Jupiter is always transiting an astrological sign for a year. But what that also means is Jupiter is going to be in its last few degrees of Taurus, and the last few degrees of any sign is challenging. Neptune right now is in 29 degrees of Pisces. That's called the anaretic degree. There is intensity in the field. That's why I'm giving you some logistics to it. And I'm not going to go into all the details, but what you want to know is there is mastery energy going on and there's fusion happening. So where is your opportunity is being grounded, being still, and doing practical things. Meaning, how can I take this one step at a time, one thing on my to-do list at a time? Can I get still and take a few breaths? And my favorite breath cycle that works, and it works well every darn time for me, is the 4-6-8 breath cycle. You inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. You inhale for 4 seconds, hold 1 second, exhale fully through your nose all the way down, expel all the air 4 seconds. Then you inhale 6 seconds, hold a second, exhale 6 seconds, hold a second, and then you do 8 seconds. Inhale for 8 seconds, hold, exhale for 8 seconds, hold. And then what I do is I do 8 seconds again, then I do 6 seconds, and then I do 4 seconds. And by the time I have gone 4-6-8, 8-6-4, it's like a whole physiological mental reset. What also happens when you do that is because of the 6 or the 8 second inhale, you have brought spinal fluid all the way up through your spine into your brain. And it shoots off all these receptors in the brain, which is where the pineal gland is. It affects the pineal gland. It opens up higher consciousness. It opens intuition. It helps you with that delta state that we were talking about. So it's all interconnected. So if that is accessible to you, the 4-6-8, 8-6-4, that's the way I roll it. It works. It works all the time for me. And I'll do that when I'm driving a lot of times. Like if I feel anxious or anxiety or my mind is darting left and right or I'm ruminating on something or someone or frustrated about something, I'll be like, stop, Amanda, and just do your breath cycle. And by the time I've worked through that in about a minute, because that's about all it takes, I already can feel a difference in, first of all, my mental health and well-being, my physiological state, and my emotional state. So try that, see if it works. Again, I want to circle back and just thank everyone for the event. It was spectacular. My producer, Elizabeth, who came in and produced the entire event, she's a total rock star, and I brag on her all the time. But not only did she curate an amazing event and see it in her mind and help me to make it a reality, I just appreciate how much fun she is and how easy she is to work with. So she made it a delight, and a big thanks to you, Elizabeth Fazio, and of course to my friends and family. My sisters all showed up, and that was huge for me to have all 3 of them there, and my niece was there. And then I had so many amazing friends. Plus we had Megan from the Austin, Texas Herb Bar, and people got all sorts of cool homeopathic remedies and now know about the Herb Bar, which was phenomenal because a lot of people went home with tinctures and teas and cool things. I mean, of course, she had like sage and crystals and all of that stuff, so people got to walk away with some cool things. But I really appreciate everyone being there. It was a huge learning experience for me and an expansive experience to be able to jump in and share what I do and to support and uplift the energy. And then it also just taught me all these new things about our energy and our consciousness, because the way that I saw this, and I was explaining this to Elizabeth before we got on the call, when I got up in front of everybody, and there were a lot of people there, when I got up in front of everybody, the energy, it was like striated. You know, there were so many different vibrational frequencies. I grounded everybody in because I had to ground myself in, because it was like pulling me in 25 directions. And so once I grounded in, I could focus and fuse it together. I tell you what, it challenged the heck out of me. And I love being challenged. That's that 8. Remember, like I'm born on an 8 day. So it's like, go big or go home, girl. Like do it. If you believe in it and you know it's going to uplift and bring benefit and quality, that's all my 9 energy and my integrity. But it's like, but do it and just like outmode your fears, catapult over your fears. And of course, like, we all have fear, and however fear is coming up for you right now, where can you make a quantum leap? Where can you start something that will bust up a fear pattern, even if it is using that delta state and that visualization that I talked about, and saying, or lassoing that fear with the infinity of the 8? Use things to take your fears and begin to heal and minimize them, so you can expand not only your faith and your happiness, your health and well-being, but your consciousness, and connecting with these solar flares and these upgrades and this accelerated time of energy we're in. You're here to grow. You're here to become more light, to bring in this 5th dimensional energy that is all of the heart, and us really becoming lighter, not just lighter in our hearts and our minds, but literally less dense on a more energetic playing field where reality and planet Earth is evolving into greater love, greater ease, greater peace, greater joy. We are here to anchor that in. And however you are working on your own personal and spiritual journey, know that you're contributing to something bigger by focusing on your own health and well-being, and taking a little bit of time consistently this month, the 4 energy, and then tap into that 22, because why not, to build something big into reality, to harness the master builder energy and leave this place better than you came into it. All right, everyone, take care, be well, sending you all love.
Am I doing the right thing with my finances? Am I saving enough? Can I buy a house? Am I paying too much in taxes? Will I be able to retire? Putting a financial plan together feels impossible. What if I told you there was another way? Take Facet's free financial wellness quiz to get your score and a snapshot of your current financial health. Visit Facet.com now and discover your financial wellness score today. That's FACET.com.
This ad is sponsored by Facet. Facet Wealth Incorporated is an SEC registered investment advisor. This is not an offer to buy or sell securities, nor is it investment, legal, or tax advice.
Residents at Brightview Senior Living Communities enjoy enhanced possibilities, independence, and choice. Brightview Dulles Corner in Herndon and Brightview, Great Falls, offer vibrant senior independent living, assisted living, and memory care services through various daily programs and cultural events. Chef-prepared meals, safety and security, transportation, resort-style amenities, and high-quality care. Everything you need is here. Discover more at brightviewseniorliving.com. Equal housing opportunity.
What do the most successful growing businesses have in common? They're working together in Slack. Slack is where work happens, with all your people, data, and information in one AI-powered place. Grow your business in Slack. Visit slack.com to get started.